got a video finally, making one. It's been a while since I've made a video or uploaded one. Today, I have an Acer Aspire M5. This has very sticky keys on one side of the keyboard, so we're going to be I'll be removing the keys, but I decided I'm going to do a disassembly of this. So we have, as you can see, a lot of screws holding the bottom case or the bottom cover. Let's see, 8, 10, 14, so 18 screws. We're just going to remove these. Okay. Look at that one, got that one here. So a bunch of screws. Okay, we've got 2 more to go. All right. Let's see here. All right, cool. So, got all the screws out of it. Just gonna stick those to my magnet here. That aside. And then, let's see. This just lifts up. It's got clips all around it. And should just be easy to... What the hell is shaking on my... There we go. Okay, so that's off. That was easy. Set that aside. All right, so now... See here the battery, and that connects on this side of the board. Just to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let me zoom in. Oh, that's not how you zoom in anymore. I got a Note 5 now that I'm making the videos on, and they changed everything on me. So damn confusing. I was hitting the volume up, which was the way to zoom in. And now that's just the way to take pictures while you're recording video. So that's always awesome. Should be able to see what I'm doing here. Let me... Okay. All right. So we got speakers on either side here, left and right. And we have the fan. And then it looks like another fan on this end here. So let's go ahead and do removal of the battery, which is on the, if you're looking at it this way, where you have the front of the computer facing you while it's upside down, it's on the left-hand side. Okay. And then this connects, it looks like it's connecting the speakers. So this is the speaker, and then this should be the, let's see here. Or actually, here it is, right here. This is the battery, and then we have one screw holding it right in the middle here. Okay, and then you just remove it that way. Set that aside. Put the screw that goes with it right there. And then the speaker connection, this is what was on the left-hand side over here, connecting both the left and the right speakers. Then it looks like we have... What's this here? So we have connections going to here. Looks like it might be some antennas. Okay, so now let's go ahead and remove the hard drive. So I gotta stand up. I can't sit down. Been sitting all day at work. So we're gonna remove the hard drive here. And then this is the connector there. And it looks like that is it. No screws. It's just held in there. Set that aside. And then coming in from the DC jack area, we have the video cables. So here's the video cable. Remove that. And we have the DC jack connector itself that plugs into the motherboard. And the video cable just snakes under this here. Let's go ahead and remove that. So this is being held down by 2 screws. I swear something is shaking on my desk and it is annoying. Okay, so this is just a dummy cover, and I believe it's because I think there might be a different model that uses this as a fan as well, or maybe I don't see a connector for the fan over here, so don't really know why that's there. Okay. Since I'm going to clean the keyboard too, I'm going to go ahead and remove the fan, probably reduce some thermal compound. Okay, let's see. So looking at this here, so we have the touchpad. I believe this is a backlit keyboard, and that's what this cable would be here. This is the touchpad. Here's the keyboard ribbon cable, and I believe this is the one for the backlight. So to remove those, you just simply pry up on these two. You slide that out, like that, and then of course you have your regular keyboard connector where you just, okay, they got double-sided tape there that was exposed and just kind of hanging onto things there. Okay, so then for this, for the motherboard, you just go ahead and slide it towards you and then slide the ribbon cable out. All right, let's see, what else do we need to unplug to get this sucker out of here? So let's undo this cable there. Looks like we'll have to undo the Wi-Fi antennas. Okay, and that just goes around the fan. Let's see here. Fan, 1 screw, looks like it. It looks like it's just 1 screw there, and then we have the ones on the heatsink, of course, and then I'm not gonna remove, make it difficult on myself by removing them as separate pieces. There we go. All right. And then we'll just unplug the fan, and we'll be cleaning the compound off of that and putting some fresh stuff on there. Okay, so now the motherboard. We have to remove, looks like we have to remove the hinge on that end. Yep. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I've never seen a design like that where, I don't know if you guys can see here. Let's take a look, make sure you guys can see. So right here, this is the hinge. Let's see if we can, hopefully we can focus on that. So what we have here, this is the hinge for the case, yet the motherboard, see this, the motherboard goes under here. So that's kind of interesting. I have not seen one with that design. We've got 1 screw right over by the memory stick. And then of course we've got the ones here by the hinge on the left-hand side. So I've got 3 of them out. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, definitely. This is interesting. I've never seen one like this before. Okay, so I've got the 3. This is off of the hinge. And that one. Okay, I'm just kind of moving it around because I just want to play around with it and see what sort of give it has. Okay, let's don't ever want to just start yanking on stuff, because you can break stuff and then you got to explain to your customer or to your client why you broke something. And see, so what I did there is I just wiggled it, and it created a gap between. Let me see if I can set it back in here. Okay. Yeah, I'll be able to get it back in there. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so let me zoom out just a bit. There we go. Focus it back on there. All right, so what I did is by opening and closing, I created a gap to where I can lift up the motherboard and wiggle it out safely. Okay? And I forgot to remove a connector on this side here, which I just undid. So then that'll remove your motherboard. Okay? And then all you're left with is just the bottom case. All right? And then, so it'd be your palm rest, and then you'll have your LCD. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a peek. All right, let me go ahead and close this up. Take a peek there, so that's that hinge. And it looks like, to remove that one, we would have to then remove that screw. All right, so let's see. And this is what I hate companies do, that they do this, is where they plastic rivet the frickin' keyboard in there. Which is fine, because with the amount of keys that I have to do, I can just pop the keys off and then do them individually, which is not a big deal. Okay, so let's see. What else can we... How much deeper can we go? Okay, so I see a screw here. That looks like a hinge one for sure. Okay. Then on this side, the DC jack just kind of wiggles out. Okay, and then it has an adhesive that goes to this aluminum foil here. That keeps it cool, I guess. And then let's see what we have. So we've got 2 screws. Okay. All right. And let's see. Okay. All right. So this end is coming out. I got 1 screw that I need to remove. Come on. Okay. And then that comes out. All right. So then now I've separated the LCD here. Okay, that comes out that way, and here's the palm rest with just the keys and the keyboard and the keyboard and the palm and the touchpad. Touchpad seems pretty simple. Over there. Touchpad. It looks like it's just screwed in, so we're working in this area. Let's Okay. Touchpad. Got 2 screws over on this side here and 2 at the top, and that removes a plastic bracket. So let's go ahead, take those out. Okay. This should now lift up. So very gentle. There's the third one hiding. So you always have to check everything. You gotta make sure that you've looked everywhere, in every crevice, under every piece. And even now I'm kind of unsure that this is actually loose. So I'm not lifting up too crazy right now. I'm putting too much pressure on it because I don't want to break it. Okay, let's see. Again, I don't want to break it, so okay, let's take a peek. Why is this stuck? Okay, so like I said, always double check everything, make sure, see? You don't just start ripping things and pulling on things that you don't know where they go or if they connect to something. You might find yourself regretting things like that. So, 2 screws right here, and I believe these would be the last ones because I believe this lifts up. Yep. So you got a little bracket that holds it. I believe this should now be easier. Something is still holding it. Don't know what. Let's go ahead and remove the ribbon cable. For that, what is holding it? All right. Okay. See? Patience. You gotta be patient with everything that you're doing or else you're gonna break something. So there it is. There's the touchpad. Okay. So we had a total of 7 screws. This little bracket that sits there for the button. That's your clicker. Okay, then you have the 2 speakers. I don't really see any sense in removing the speakers. Clearly 3 screws. You remove it. Here, I'll show you. And the screws have little rubber gaskets around them. Okay, so then you just lift this up and away you go with the speaker. Okay, no need to keep going. It's the same for the one on the left. Now, I did mention that I dislike when companies rivet or plastic rivet the keyboard, right? So you can remove the keyboard. What I do is, if it's plastic riveted on, I like to take a razor blade and I just break off the very top of the plastic rivets. I'm not going to do it with this one because, like I said, I have the amount of keys that I have to do is just not worth it to me to actually deal with the pain in the butt that it is to remove the rivets. It can be done. Like I said, it's a pain. So I would avoid it if possible, but there are times where you do have to do that, and it's not fun at all. So just, yeah, it's not fun. So then what I do is I have a cheap little Radio Shack soldering iron that I use so that I can remelt the little, you'll have like a little nub of plastic that's left. And that happens if you break just the plastic welds off just right to where it leaves that residue or that extra little nub, which will then allow you to remove it. So you can do it, and then like I said, just use a cheap little soldering iron. You don't need to use your expensive equipment to do that. Just a little cheap $7 one or whatever. Okay, so then right there I just put the touchpad back on, and we're gonna go under some of these cables. Go under this one, and then it was under this one. Keep it that way, and then it goes around here over this way, and then pushes down. Okay, this one's a little chewed up, the rubber gasket down here, but it's okay. No big deal. Okay, so then you'll just put your speakers in back that way. So okay. Okay. Cool. That's it. So now we just start putting stuff back together. For the motherboard, I'm going to skip that part. I'm going to pause it while I do the thermal paste. I don't want to bore you with that stuff. So I'll be back once I start putting. Actually, yeah, I'll put the LCD back on. To do that, I'm just gonna grab the video cable, grab it like this. It's kind of tricky doing it one-handed with holding the LCD and one hand holding the other side. So you just kind of wiggle it in like that, and then what I like to do is hold the hinges as if your fingers are the screws, to then bend them back down the way that they go, and then they'll pop right back into place without any issues, without you breaking any plastics or anything, because that's what all these laptops are made out of nowadays. Alright, put that one back there. And we're going to leave that one out, actually. Yeah, because then I got to put the motherboard back in. See, I'm already getting ahead of myself. There. Just enough of a gap to leave it open. And then this little screw goes back here. Alright. Video cable feeds under there. And then actually, where the hell did it go? It went right here. And then if you do what I just did and you forget, you can always grab the pieces and figure out that you have 3. So I got one that goes here, here, and here to the case. So they go right there. Very simple way to figure that out. Also, I just realized that it's numbered, so now I feel even more stupid. Number 2, number 1. Okay, so that is that. Let me pause it. I'm going to do the thermal compound. Alright, so now we're going to put the motherboard back on. And what I'm going to do is just slide it under here. Okay, kind of wiggle that around. Okay, and there we go. So now the motherboard is back on. We'll take the heatsink and the fan, and we'll just start putting that back on there. Okay, and then with that I always go just finger tight. I don't go too crazy with it. Okay, then pop the screws that were holding the motherboard back on, which was 3 of them. Okay, there we go. And all I did was just push on the hinge and it goes back in, and now we can put the hinge screws back on. Okay, and then of course not forgetting to screw down the fan, feed the Wi-Fi antenna cables back around the fan. Okay, feeding, let's unplug the black one real quick, just get that one out of the way. Plug the fan back into the motherboard. Okay. There's that. Then all I have to do is just put this back in, which is the ribbon cable for the touchpad. Okay. Lock that into place. Slide that one back in. Get our little ribbon cable here and slide that in there. Lock that into place. And then of course the keyboard ribbon cable. Okay, cool. So now we need to put the DC jack back in there. And then this, of course, has to be attached to the aluminum foil. So we'll just grab it. And then I just use this little pry tool. And that allowed me to push on the adhesive. And here's this little ribbon cable here I forgot before to disconnect. Okay, cool. And then this piece goes, oh yeah, plug that, slide that in there like this. Okay. Now we feed the video cable. Okay. Video cable goes under there. You just got to remember how you removed all of these. Okay. Alright. And then plug the DC jack back in there. Okay, so now we're just going to connect little adapters over here on the back. Hope you guys can see that. Okay. This is the dummy card cover there. All right. We've got everything plugged back in. Squish this back down here. Okay. So got the keyboard, the backlight for the keyboard, the touchpad, ribbon cable. We've got power coming to the motherboard from the DC jack. We've got video cable coming in. Got the Wi-Fi antennas, the fan plugged in, speakers, and these LEDs. Okay, looks like everything is back on. So now all that is left to do is put back the hard drive, the battery. Should be good to go. So here's the hard drive, and we're just going to come in and push that down. Okay, now we've got the battery. Okay, just be very gentle with it. It feels quite flimsy, and then you just connect it there. Got that one screw right in the middle there holding it. Take your back cover and make sure it all snaps back in. This was previously opened, so some of the clips may have been broken, and that's why it doesn't click on the top left over here. So now, we just grab our screws and start popping them in. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you. I'm just going to continue on with this. What I will do, though, is after I'm done putting all the screws, I will show you how to remove one of the keys from the keyboard in case you do have to get underneath it to clean it out. Like in this instance, something got in and caused it to be all sticky. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pause it now, and then I'll come back once I'm going to remove the keys. Alright, so I'm going to be removing the keys. Let's see if we can get it to stay focused on that. So it's going to be different with different keyboards. Even the M5s sometimes have a different style of hardware. Man, this backspace key is just, holy crap, it is just caked. So I get under here and very gently you have to lift up, and there is a little bracket that holds the keys in place, okay?